So thanks everyone for joining me. I'm Satinder and I'm an accountant. I teach accounting at the College of New Caledonia in Prince George, BC. And today I'm gonna show you how to use the Shapley value method. It's a great method when you're sharing an expense or say splitting a profit with someone. So has anyone ever shared a cost with anyone and determined how to split it? Did you split it 50-50, 30-70?
I think I've only done like 50-50 if it was two people or 33. Like I don't think I've ever split anything other than in equal portions.
Anyone else would like to share?
I suppose I've gone on trips before and we've just kind of went back and forth between food and gas and kind of made it approximate, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done similar to that. Yeah, for sure. Trips.
And sharing it 50-50 is great if you think it's equitable. What the Shapley method does is it shows you how to use more of a weighted approach. So if one person is going to use more of that expense, then they should perhaps pay more. So just a personal experience, my sister and I had some work done to each of our houses. And I was going to pay about $300 on my own, and she had estimated her cost to be about $500. So if we each did it on our own, we would have paid about $800. We actually were able to hire someone who did it for $700. And then using the Shapley value method to split out that $700, I paid $250, so $50 less, and she paid $450, $50 less as well. So using the Shapley method, my sister paid more of the shared expense, but overall we both ended up paying less. And it was an equitable split. So the Shapley method is actually created by Harlow Shapley back in 1950. He actually won a Nobel Prize for economy. And it's actually a gaming theory idea. And what it does, it looks at players and that they've team of players and their surpluses. And you've got one player who has lots of bargaining power, who brings lots to the table. Well, then they should get a higher percentage of that surplus versus another player who may have less bargaining power or brings less resources to the table. So I teach this to my students in accounting and cost accounting, where we're looking at where companies produce their own products. And we use it not only to split out costs, but we also for revenue allocations. A lot of the times you'll buy a product from the store and it's a bundled product. So you'll get two products. And so the Shapley method is useful for splitting a revenue or a cost between products across divisions. Divisions may share labor, they may share machinery, or companies. And the example that I'm gonna demo is we've got two construction companies, two independent companies building their own buildings, and they need to rent equipment. And they have decided or figured out that they can rent this equipment for $36,000 if they share the expense. Company A will pay $26,000 if they rent it on their own, and company B would pay $14,000. So then the question is, how do you split that common cost, that shared expense of $36,000 if they decide to rent the equipment together? So I'm just going to flip over to an Excel and demo how to do the calculations and how the Shapley value method works. So I like to demo everything in Excel. I find it easy for students to follow. So what I've done is I've taken the information off the PowerPoint slide and I've just brought it over into Excel. So again, company A is facing a rental cost of $26,000, company B of $14,000, or they can do it for $36,000. So this is quite a simple method, 2 steps involved. What you do in the first step is you determine the cost if company A, for example, was a primary. If company A is the main user, primary user, that would make company B the incremental user. And the incremental user, therefore, only pays the residual amount. I'll just label it here. So as a primary user, they're going to pay what they would have paid had they rented the equipment on their own, which is $26,000. And keep in mind that we want to allocate a total cost of $36,000. So if company A is going to pay $26,000, how much should company B pay?
10,000?
Yeah, 10,000, because you always, your checkpoint is always the total common cost of 36,000. So you do the same thing, but you flip it. Now you make company B primary. And then therefore company A is your incremental user. So looking at company B as primary, what would they pay?
Would it be 14,000?
Yes. As a primary party, they would pay what they would have paid had they done this on their own, which is 14,000. So does anyone want to jump in what the next part would be, the next step? So if company B is going to pay 14,000, what would company A pay in this case?
They would pay the remainder of 22,000.
Yeah, they would pay the remainder as 22,000. So what you do in step one is you assign each company or party or individual involved as a primary. And as a primary, they would pay had they been incurring this cost on their own. Then the residual goes to the other company. And so you do each scenario. Are there any questions? And then step two is you're going to take the values calculated in step one for each company and take the average. And that average will be the cost each company will pay. So we're going to use the cost. So company A, what you're going to do is take the cost from company A as a primary and as a secondary. And you're going to calculate the average of those two values. So as a primary, they're going to pay 26,000. And as a secondary, they pay 22,000. And it is the average of those values is what company A should be paying in this rental cost. So I'll do a total, and your total is 48,000. And then an average of 48,000, you just divide it by 2. And the average is determined by the total divided by the number of factors that go into that total. So we've got 26,000 and 22,000. So company A will pay 24,000 of the common rental cost. So I'm going to give, are there any questions with the flow of numbers? So I'm just going to give you a minute or so if you want to calculate what company B will pay then.
It would be 12,000.
Yes, it will be 12,000. So again, in accounting, we like everything to balance, and we need everything to equal 36,000 at the end of the day. If company A is paying 24,000, company B will pay the remainder. So that's one way to calculate the company B's cost. The other way is to do what we did with the numbers for company A. So company B as a primary pays 14,000. And company B as a secondary pays 10,000. And I'll add those up. So it's 24,000. And I'll take the average. So in the world of accounting, there's always a way to check your numbers. The averages should always equal your common cost of 36,000, which they do, 24,000 plus 12,000. And if company A, we already know, is paying 24,000, then it would stand to reason that their company B is paying the rest. And that is the Shapley value method. And that won a Nobel Prize back in the 50s. And it was a gaming theory, but we use it in accounting quite often because costs and revenues are shared, again, across products, across divisions, across companies. And for my sister and I, for our housing costs, we were going to pay 800 individually or all together, but on an individual basis. And we were able to save $50 each by sharing the expense. So I'll just pause here if anyone's got any questions, or do you think you can use this in your real life now going forward when you're going to be
I don't have any questions, but I could see this being useful for if two people rent a house and one person has a bigger room than the other person, they could, you know, pay for the bigger room. They could, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
It sounds like such a simple idea, but it's really renowned.
I can see where it would be useful, and the math you made super clear. So that was really nice. The only thing I still feel like company A is kind of getting the bad end of the stick, because the cost savings are going to be equal, but probably they're getting such a cost savings because of the amount of work company A is providing the excavator or contractor, whatever it is.
Yeah. And it really speaks to that company A is on their own would have paid 12,000 already above company B on an individual basis. That's the way to look at it. So company A will always pay more, but overall with sharing the expense, each of them come out about $2,000 ahead. So yeah, company A is still paying more, but it speaks to, what they're having done. With my sister and I, we had the same work done, but my house is smaller. I mean, $200 might not be significant, but her house is way bigger. My house can fit into her house probably twice. So, and so when we found this contractor for 700, I said to her, I'm not paying 350 because that would have been half of 700 when I can pay 300 on my own. Right. She had to think about it because she's not an accountant, she's in insurance. So when I broke down the math for sure, I'm like, you're still ahead and I'm still ahead by $50. But you were going to pay more anyways, and it makes sense with the size of your house and the size of my house. So yeah, it's a gaming theory, cooperative gaming theory, and it looks at players and what they contribute. But we use it in accounting quite often, especially with bundled products. That's very common. Are there any other questions, comments?
I really enjoyed watching you do this live,
Yeah.
because when I did watch your presentation that you had posted, and I was still a bit unclear. I'm not a math
Okay.
person. I am really, my husband is a math person, and he gets frustrated with me because I'm just numbers just jumble in my head. So this discussion afterwards was really helpful.
Oh,
So this was great. Thank you.
you're
Made it
welcome.
much
That's
clearer.
awesome. Awesome to
Yeah.
hear.
Watching you do it live kind of thing was, it really gave the context and broke it down step by step. So and you said it yourself, just doing it on the Excel sheet really kind of highlights for your students when you teach them this, and it works. It's great. So great job.
Okay,
Yeah.
so go ahead.
Good. I was just going to say, I also like that you didn't put down step 2, because it made me focus on step 1 and think about, try to figure out what step 2 is going to be.
Yeah, I find with my students, less is more, and I'm sure you find that too, right? So I'm a total numbers person and I love it, but so I've got to rein it in sometimes. Right. Awesome.
That's great. Thank you.
Nice,
So
thank you.
we've got a mini quiz.
Oh dear.
So yeah. If I use Kahoot, and I will just share the screen for Kahoot. If you want to grab your cell phone or another device, the questions will pop up on your screen. So if you would like to go into www.kahoot.it and then enter the PIN number. And once everyone is in, I will start the quiz. Yay. Everyone got it right. Awesome. Travis, you're leading the pack here.
He's fast.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
So Harlow Shapley had created it for gaming theory, but we use it in accounting all the time. So, ooh.
Oh, man.
Oh, yay. Congratulations.
Yay.
And congratulations. Just congratulate everyone.
Oh, that's funny.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. Awesome. Well, that concludes my presentation, and thank you for participating, everyone. That was awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. That was great. This is a
Great.
great
That was
little
fun.
tool too, actually. I like this.
Thank you.